Hello, welcome back. Good evening. No title screen for you. It's too much work to set up, and I just might as well start because I am indeed ready now to start. So let's go. We have Bitcoin still slowly inching upwards. We broke through a new high today, reaching a high of 110,483, which was one of the resistance levels that we have noted from over here. Of course, it's not exact. It's a zone that you have to pay attention to, roughly 110,000 nonetheless. We did not achieve this one over here, the resistance from the pivot levels that we have noted, but I don't give that one too much relevance, right? The main thing I focus on in terms of resistance would be the 112,000, which is our current all-time high level. Not exactly, but this is also a fib extension level. The actual all-time high level is right here. This was our previous all-time high, the first all-time high we reached in 2025 earlier in January, which we're currently breaking out of. Happy to see that happen. We're currently lateralizing around this zone after, bouncing up from over here. Next step, we're still in an uptrend. We could stay lateralized for a while longer. What is this looking like? 7th of July? Surely it's before then. We should see a continuation of the pump towards the upside. There's nothing holding Bitcoin back currently. It's all very bullish stuff, very bullish news. Literally nothing to be afraid of. So that would take us into uncharted territory where we have our own intuitions and our own personal targets that would determine where we see our support resistance levels. Resistance, obviously, if we're looking towards the upside. I've got one from fib extensions drawn at 122k and then 135k for Bitcoin specifically. For the rest of the altcoins, it's mainly just a matter of catching up towards, they got a lot to catch up for, right? In terms of reaching their previous all-time high levels. So still some work to be done in that sense. All right. I changed my account to cross margin, by the way. I do have two positions entered, both in short, I know. This one I'm shorting Pengu. It's a meme coin, and the reason I'm shorting it is because it's already had its good run up. Deserves to drop a little bit. I didn't put too much in it anyway, so I'm not too concerned whether this goes against me. If it does, I'll just short even more. And this is a bonus position on isolated. I did try it on Sui just in case we do drop, right? Because you're either right or you're wrong in this market, realistically. So if I'm right, I will be making a couple $1,000s. If I'm wrong, I'll make some profit from this short position. $100 being X so generously gave me, not generally. And it's at 5x, so it's a total position size of $500, which is pretty good. Good stuff. What else we got? Not a lot of movement for specifically Bitcoin. Like we're the same level where we were just yesterday. 109,420 is the current price. Yeah, I've already given my projections. It's looking like we're still going to keep on rising from here. I think I could get rid of this downtrend and also, yeah, that's all. Just checking I didn't have anything else drawn before. Next, let's move on to Ethereum, which also some rejection over here. I'm not sure if these liquidation levels are even valid anymore. Last time I checked, I drew them ever since we were over here. I don't know, maybe they got dropped and this was what was actually liquidated, but it seems like we didn't fully achieve this. So we're still stuck around this zone over here for Ethereum. A lot of sell pressure, you can definitely tell. We do have a clear resistance. I'll keep that drawn there nonetheless. Once we do break out of this though, like we'll be breaking out of the long downtrend that we do have, which should take us to higher levels, hopefully around 3,000. It's not too far off. We could get there pretty soon. We clearly do have a resistance from this if you're paying attention to price action. 2,878, the highest point that we reached June 11. So that could be one target because we haven't been up there ever since, right? Ever since April 7 crash, April 9, April 7. Wow, Ethereum had a really bad time back then. All right. But yeah, still some Still some room to recover for Ethereum. This is clearly the uptrend that we are following. We do have super trends now following the uptrend that we have drawn. I'm pretty sure we should see this with the rest of these tokens as well. Similar deal with Solana, right? We're still on our way up over here. Current price of Solana is 152. 0.13% down today. Not a lot of movement as well. Did I even mention the price for Ethereum? 2,594. We're at a resistance of 2,600, right? 2,634 was our highest point of today. That's all I wanted to mention for Ethereum. Lowest point, 2,555. Fair enough. So, still a very bullish outlook as well for Solana. Downtrend, you could practically say, is broken. This is the longest downtrend that we do have ever since the all-time high levels, which that should tell you something. All-time high level, by the way, 295, and we're at 152. Easy 2x from here. You can guarantee that. Well, I don't want to guarantee anything live, but you know, you get the point. If we do reach our all-time high, you're 2xing your money. Ethereum, you're kind of, yeah, you're similar thing as well. For Ethereum's all-time high, that's a 2x. XRP, I don't think it's got a lot of juice left in it. All right, next, what is this? XRP. We reached a high point of 340. From here, we do have a downtrend that we are very, very close to breaking if we do come out of this 230 resistance, of course. I always mention that 230 resistance. We were not fully able to break out of it just today, actually. We did touch upon 231. But there is rejection at that zone. You see that no candles have closed above that red line. So, you know, accumulating once again some more strength before hopefully taking off. And that is indeed the last downtrend that we have for XRP as well. So it should also benefit us toward the upside. A lot of tokens, you'll notice, are either breaking, have broken, or will be breaking soon. Their downtrends that they have from all-time high levels versus whatever other high levels that we've seen before. Very positive outlook for all of these. Top gainer today is SUI, which miraculously rising above $3. Current price is $3.05. I did enter a short position right there at 304, is that? Yeah, 304. And I don't know, it's just to see, you know, if we do stagnate or maybe even if we drop, you don't ever know what's going to happen tomorrow. Could be a surprise drop. It should be really relaxed though, because tomorrow will be the 4th of July. US markets will be closed. It should be low liquidity, low volatility on that day, especially even for the crypto market. Even though it's 24/7, believe it or not, institutional investors do bring the volume into the market. So yeah, either way, I'm just expecting maybe some decay on this. It's only going to be open for 24 hours. I'm not expecting a crazy rise on this either. Probably bad timing to enter, but I didn't want it to expire either way, my voucher. So I just did best with what I could with it. We'll see how that plays out. Still an uptrend, like I said. Downtrend has been fully broken for SUI. We do have one more, technically speaking, but that's because Sui's just had such a good run this January, right? We reached a high of 538. This is basically all-time high. You compare this to any other token, except for Solana, none of them hit a new all-time high. And also except for Hyperliquid. I do want to start investing into Hyperliquid. Like, the FOMO is kind of getting to me. I do see that it is, you know, a good project. It's a good DEX, and it's got a set max supply, which is not something that I knew about, which that's always a positive thing. It's not an inflationary token, right? Unlike another, you know, any other decentralized exchange tokens like Uniswap or whatever the case may be. So yeah, that's what we got for SUI. 305 looking good. If you want to know resistances, we're looking at 311. Pivot levels showing 328 next resistance. Any supports, we really don't have any. Invalidates at 267, of course. That's where we have one pivot level, but a drop to there. Hey, sure, it could happen. We would just readjust the uptrend, no big deal, if we do continue our way upwards. But if the super trend flips bearish, I would be readjusting this like that. But we're not at that place quite yet, and this downtrend is practically broken as of here. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove it, give it a clear outlook for SUI. Actually, yeah. I mean, we could technically drop to, what is this level? 270s, 280s, just to continue rising. That could absolutely happen for SUI. Matter of fact, I am hoping it does happen so I could take some profit from this short position and then we can continue rising. That should still make things work. Like, it's healthy and normal for that to happen. So you shouldn't be panicking if we see 280 again for SUI. Lower than 280, I'd start getting a bit more concerned. Litecoin is up 1.46% today. We are on our way back down. We actually hit a high of 92. There we go, finally. Some action in Litecoin going on. So we broke out of this downtrend that I mentioned, the more important one, and we're currently seeking refuge on it once again, touching upon that. But we were not able to break the last downtrend that I had drawn over here. So all three downtrends that I've ever drawn, we've successfully broken out of them. There was one more, like a smaller one over here. That one was also broken out of. So we're just left with this one currently. And now I can see a clear uptrend for Litecoin. Right? I'm pretty sure. Why didn't I draw this before is when I'm questioning myself. It's whatever. What is this Fibonacci from? It's supposed to determine drops, so it's not useful to look at it from this angle. It's more important to check this high to this low to see where we could see some resistance. That's what I'd be more focusing on. So I'm going to go ahead and draw it. Right there. And essentially, yes, you see that we slowed down right over here at this zone, 91, 92. That's where we have a clear resistance, also coinciding with the downtrend that we see here. So that makes sense. All right. Does this have a hotkey? I want to start using this brush more frequently, but it does not have a hotkey. All right, whatever. Guess I'm going to have to suffer in silence. We do have, I guess, this fib level as a little support. It's looking like 87, 92, 88, you could call that. I think that's the low point from here, 88. And super trend invalidates down here. Almost $83. So yeah, clear uptrend. It's happened finally. This actually happened today. The super trend flipped up. That's why I didn't draw this uptrend yesterday. It makes sense now. Now I drew it because we do have an uptrend confirmed. All right, change of characters gone. Next, 255% up for Cardano. Super trend also flipped up over here, perfectly coinciding with the uptrend that we have. It's bounced off of the downtrend, the only downtrend that it knows of. Never mind, it has one more, but that's a bit longer term. That's because Cardano had a crazy pump, like a 70% pump in one day back in April, May, or March, sorry. I think it was April when Trump announced the crypto strategic reserve by accident. Yeah, so we're on our process of breaking out of this, which should be no big deal, right? Should immediately take us to about 64 cents Cardano if we do manage to break out of it. We do require some more volume and strength, though, to acquire that. But Cardano has been on a good recovery so far. Current price of 60 cents. That is really, really good. I'm happy to see this for Cardano. And also, the 51 support has once again proven its strength, something that I've been pointing out. 1, 2, 3 supports. Unbreakable. There you go. So we're on our way back up there for Cardano. Pay attention to it. Next. That's all. All right. 15-minute analysis. You know, I kind of rushed with my news segment. Not preparing for the news segment, I should say. Because I changed my password and I don't know, my Twitter was still working, right? Then I exited. That was early in the morning, right? Now that I go back on and I'm like, okay, I gotta prepare the stuff that I had bookmarked, right? And nothing was loading. I'm like, why is nothing loading? I keep refreshing, nothing's loading. Like, did they hack Twitter? Is Twitter down? Am I hacked? What is going on? And then I don't know, I refreshed one more time or something, and then it took me to the login page. I'm like, oh yeah, I changed my password, and now I have to re-log in again. I don't know, I'm changing my password too frequently now. I have so many passwords in my brain that I'm starting to actually lose track. It's brutal, but whatever. We'll make it work, and it should be for the greater good anyway. That's all I wanted to comment on. Anyways, we got non-farm payroll data today. We gained 147,000 jobs, which beat expectations. It was more than what we expected. Let me actually get the exact numbers up here for you. We previously added 144,000 jobs. We were expecting to add 110, but we actually added 147,000 jobs, which is much more than expected. So people were like, wow, the economy is doing really good. How about unemployment? Unemployment came down to 4.1%. It used to be 4.2%. I know last month, I'm pretty sure we saw that rise, and now it's come back down. It's 0.1%, but keep in mind that little 0.1% is actually thousands, maybe millions of Americans. I don't even know. You get the point, though. So that was also good. We were actually expecting unemployment to be on the rise, but it actually came down. So there's more people getting employed, more jobs being added. This is overall good for the economy, which strengthened the US dollar. We originally saw a drop this morning. Let me go to like a 15-minute chart so we can pinpoint exactly when this happened. I'm assuming it's exactly this. 8:30 a.m. We had this drop in the price of Bitcoin from 109,500 down to 108,700. But then we immediately recovered from there because we're like, okay, you know what? Sure, the US dollar strengthens, and possibilities of rate cuts also got affected, which I'll touch upon. But overall, like, this is good. Tariffs aren't a bad thing, and the US economy is slightly getting better. It's probably not as bad as what the Fed really thinks, Jerome Powell specifically, right? We also have some more data. Native-born employment, 2,079,000 jobs since January. Foreign-born, whatever. More jobs, that's what it means. Federal employment fell 7,000 in June and is now down 69,000 this year. Less federal people being employed. I guess that's good because the government doesn't have to spend money on them, and it's probably works of Doge cutting on government waste. That could be one thing. Anyway, I do want to find the rate cut percentages. What changed? If you need a refresher, last time we checked, we were looking at 3 rate cuts for this year. Now it's only 2 rate cuts, which that is in line with expectations. With what the Fed has, they are only expecting 2 rate cuts themselves. This is just futures market projections, and we were expecting 3. This was like a 60-40 in December, right? 60% chance we did get a 3rd rate cut in December, and now the tables have turned. 91% chance we don't get a rate cut in December anymore. So it's looking like we're going to get no rate cut for the next meeting in July. 70% chance we do get a rate cut in September. 57% chance we get a rate cut in October. 91% chance nothing happens in December. But by then, that 2nd rate cut should be done for sure by December, right? Because it's a 91% chance that we're going to be at 375 to 400 basis points. So that's what we are expecting for this year, the remainder of this year. So, like I said, this strengthened the US dollar because we're not going to be cutting rates as much. We're not expecting to anymore, right? So that's just normal for the market to kind of price this in. And even so, Bitcoin was later on able to pump all the way to 110,483 today. And we're lateralizing around this area. So, you know, give it a couple more days, we'll be seeing all-time high levels once again. Because overall, like, this is just good data, right? It's good for the economy. All right. Scott Bessent, the U.S. Treasury Secretary, has commented on this, saying that, you know, it is up to the Fed to decide the rates, but if they don't cut here, I'm talking about the meeting in July that's coming up soon, maybe the September cut will be bigger. which is wishful thinking from Scott Bessent. He's expecting, I should pull up that chart again. So we're getting the next Fed meeting in 26 days this month, July 30, end of this month, I guess. And nothing is expected to happen. But Scott Bessent is saying, you know, with this data, like, you should cut rates at least once, right? Also because of what Trump has been criticizing Powell and that note that he sent him with the comparisons between all the other countries and their interest rates. So he was expecting, I guess Trump is expecting a rate cut, but the whole market, we're not really expecting that Jerome Powell is going to cut. So nothing's going to happen in July. He's now saying, Scott Bessent is saying, maybe the September, so the next meeting after, will be a more significant rate cut. By that, I'm assuming he would mean like a 50 basis point rate cut, because this is just a 25 basis point rate cut. That's not like significant. I mean, the chances are significantly larger to have a rate cut in September. Sure, I'll give you that. But it's not going to be, you know, cut by 50 basis points like we saw last year. This is just looking like a 25 basis point rate cut over here. And then, of course, the next one after that in October. So, we'll see. He also said we should be expecting a vote on the tax bill around 1:30 p.m. today. What we've seen so far is that tariffs haven't hurt. Understand that Vietnam trade deal is finalized in principle as well. So this is stuff that's just been going on throughout the week, right? Vietnam trade deal, it's official, it's good, and tariffs aren't that bad. And the one big beautiful bill, I didn't talk about it at all yesterday. I guess it didn't pop up in my feed until after I finished streaming. Everybody was talking about it suddenly, saying, oh, they're going to decide on the, you know, the House is going to vote on whether or not we pass this and send it off to Trump to get it officially signed and put in place, right? The tax bill, the one big beautiful bill, the one that Elon Musk hates and criticizes a lot. So there's that. Trump commented on this last night, saying it looks like the House is ready to vote tonight. It didn't happen tonight. It happened today at 1:30 p.m. approximately, like I said, because that's what people were expecting. Like, oh, they were going to cut last night. I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they saved it until today. Ultimately, I'll discuss the outcome and the results of it. We had great conversations all day. The Republican House majority is united for the good of our country, delivering the biggest tax cuts in history and massive growth. Let's go Republicans and everyone else. Make America great again. Now, of course, we know Thomas Massie, this fellow right over here, absolutely opposes the bill, and so does Elon Musk. And Elon Musk he's caught the attention of Elon Musk, Thomas Massie, that is, because they're both against that bill. And Trump also opposes Thomas Massie for being against the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, to the point where Trump was like, I'm going to fund anyone who runs against you in the primaries to make sure you get out of office. Get this bum out of office. But then Elon Musk is saying, you know what? I'm going to be funding Thomas Massie's campaign. So good luck, Kentucky. We'll see whether or not Thomas Massie gets to stay in. You're getting backed by two billionaires over here, your campaigns, right? So it's going to be interesting to see that. And he says that he now has enough votes to block the big, beautiful bill in the House, because the goal is that all Republicans vote to approve this bill. But Thomas Massie, being a Republican, is opposing it, and so are a couple other Republicans, and he's managed, quote unquote, to convince other Republicans to vote against it, which would not get it the 50 plus vote that was required. Last time a tiebreaker was needed where JD Vance had to step in. That was for the Senate. Now this is in the House, which is the second last step before we give it to Trump and he signs it into law, right? And if it doesn't pass the House, I don't know, complications arise. So this was a big deal. And the fact that we were probably not going to have enough Republicans voting on it had the Democrats celebrating, right? They erupt in cheers and celebrate the sudden shift on the House floor as Republicans no longer have the votes to advance Trump's big, beautiful bill, which was rumored last night. But today, of course, was the day where things were actually going to get voted on, and Trump is already celebrating too early, it seems like. This came out today, the fact that he will hold a tax bill signing ceremony tomorrow. So he's ready, he's been preparing to celebrate as if he would have already won. And I mean, it ultimately happened. The GOP celebrates passing Trump's mega bill. It's passed. Speaker Mike Johnson says it's been signed and it's heading to President Trump's desk to become law. Much needed and much deserved relief for hardworking Americans is on the way. So there you go. It's going to happen. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act is passed. People like Thomas Massie and Elon Musk and Rand Paul and whomever else and the Democrats are fuming, of course. But there you go. This is what Trump had to say on his big beautiful bill passing, saying the Republicans in the House of Representatives have just passed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Our party is united like never before, and our country is hot. We are going to have a signing celebration at the White House tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All congressmen/women and senators are invited. Together, we will celebrate our nation's independence. Right, it's going to be July the 4th. And the beginning of our new golden age, with this bill passing, of course. The people of the United States of America will be richer, safer, and prouder than ever before. Thank you to the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, Senate Majority Leader John Thune, and all of the wonderful Republican members of Congress who helped us deliver on our promises and so much more. Together, we can do things that were not even imagined possible less than 1 year ago. We will keep working and winning. Congratulations, America. All right, there you go. So it's official. More stuff geopolitically that is going on. United States and Iran plan to meet next week to restart their nuclear talks. So we're back to where we started, except that Iran now has, for sure, no nuclear sites and their political leaders and, top chief officials assassinated. So they decided to pick the hard way, I guess. Let's just hope that they don't rage at each other and, of course, cause something devastating to our portfolios. It should be good from now on, hopefully. Peace is bullish for Bitcoin and crypto. All right. We also had a phone call that was just suddenly announced. Trump just posted, by the way, at 10 a.m., I'm going to be having a phone call with Vladimir Putin. And Putin was also like live on a show. He was saying, I guess I have a phone call with Donald Trump and I better attend it. Otherwise, I don't want to make him upset, So bye, everyone. I'm leaving the stage early. And he went to have this phone call with Donald Trump. Nearly 1 hour long phone conversation. Presidential aide Yuri Ushakov said that they discussed the following. This is what was talked about. Putin informed Trump about the progress of implementing the Istanbul's agreements between Russia and Ukraine. This came from the attempted peace talks that were had in Turkey. Remember that? When Trump flew to the Middle East. He was also expected to show up there, and so was Putin, but they didn't. Trump just went back home. I think Zelensky did go to Turkey, but some Russian officials also went to Turkey to discuss a possibility of a ceasefire. I don't think anything much came of it, but, Putin is informing him that they could be implementing those agreements. We'll see what happens with it. Putin told Trump that Russia continues to seek a negotiated solution to the Ukrainian conflict. He informed Trump that Russia will not abandon the elimination of all root causes of the current confrontation. Trump raised the issue of an early end to hostilities in Ukraine during the conversation, because this is also something that Trump promised was to end that war on day one when he came back to office, January 20, which did not happen. It was attempted, but no, ultimately nothing much came of it. Zelensky came to the White House, one of the first people to visit Trump, and ultimately he got kicked out because of bad attitude, right? If you guys remember that. So yeah, that kind of delayed things, especially the minerals deal not passing and all that. So that's still there. Trump informed Putin about the successful passage of the Senate of a bill on tax, the One Big Beautiful Bill, and also the immigration reform. Putin congratulated Trump on the upcoming U.S. Independence Day. He He also noted in the conversation that Russia played a significant role in the formation of American statehood. Weird flex, but okay. Putin and Trump had a detailed discussion on the situation around Iran and the Middle East as a whole. Putin and Trump touched on developments in Syria. Moscow and Washington will continue dialogue on this topic. Putin and Trump discussed several promising joint economic projects in energy and space exploration. That'll be cool. And Putin and Trump did not discuss a possible personal meeting. So there's still a bit more. This is what the Kremlin also readout of the Trump-Putin phone call. Some of it is reiterated the same stuff. Discussions on Iran and the Middle East. Putin is emphasizing the importance of settling Iran issue exclusively by diplomatic means, which it makes sense. That's why, U.S. officials and Iranian officials will be having those nuclear talks in a diplomatic way. Next week is when that is expected to happen. Trump raised the issue of bringing Ukraine conflict to a swift halt. They will continue to seek negotiated solution on Ukraine. Putin said Russia is ready to keep talking. Russia will achieve its goal of removing root issues in the Ukrainian conflict. Yeah, we know about that. Russia will not step back from its goals in Ukraine. So that's still there. There's no face-to-face meeting discussed. They agreed they would keep talking to each other. And Putin and Trump did not talk about halting some of U.S. weapons deliveries to Ukraine. This is also something that I read about a little bit. Trump told somebody at the Pentagon, they were about to send more weapons to Ukraine, but Trump told them not to. And then this phone call happens. Hey, you probably did it for something, probably to flex and look, I'm stopping these people in my country from sending Ukraine military equipment. It's also part of what Russia wants, right? Their position is that the Ukraine peace talks are between Moscow and Kiev. The U.S. will understand that. They'll respect it, right? They don't want the United States getting involved in their peace talks, is basically what that said. And also, part of the deal in Istanbul was, that Russia wants from Ukraine, is for Ukraine not to join NATO and to limit their military arsenal, right? Which was also part of what the ceasefire was proposed, way before when Trump first got into office. It was a really good offer, and I pointed that out. It was something like 20 years. Ukraine is not allowed to join NATO, which by then all of these leaders will be dead. I'm saying that. I don't know. They're all old, right? They're probably not going to be dead, but they'll definitely be out of power, right? We'll have new faces in these issues that will arise later on. So we're just pushing it down the line. That would have made sense. Limit on the military arsenal. I agree with that. And that Russia will be able to keep whatever territory they've already conquered, which it's a bit. But, I mean, Ukraine will still get to exist, I guess. That's what really matters. So there you go. And yeah, that's all we got for that. There's also these rumors. Sky News reports that Keir Starmer, Prime Minister of England, could step down as Prime Minister within the next couple of months. Ooh, we might pull another Justin Trudeau over here. Would be interesting to see. All right. The United States House also is designating, well, talking about crypto news, July 14 to July 18 will be called Crypto Week. They will be discussing the Clarity Act, Anti-Central Bank Digital Currency Surveillance State Act, and the Genius Act for stablecoins. That will be interesting to see. July 14 to 18, keep that marked in your calendars. There's also this whole talk about Trump's crypto project, World Liberty Financial. I've kind of been holding off on this news. It is getting talked about significantly, though. The fact that it's going to be launching soon. There were a lot of people who bought in early, and those people are expected to make the most amount of profit, the early buyers, right? Once it goes public, sources are saying it could go to 50 billion plus of market cap, I'm assuming, on the first day of its launch, so that, those early buyers will definitely be rich. You already know who's the biggest buyer in there. It's Justin Sun from Tron. He holds a lot of those tokens. He's the top holder. 50 billion market cap. Is that actually a lot or no? I'm looking at the wrong website. 20 billion. Hey, that is pretty significant. You're putting that above Tron, below USDC. That's going to be number 8 in CoinMarketCap spot. If it does get 50 billion plus. That is interesting, because that was talked about, like the fact that will it make top 10? And people were saying, oh yeah, no doubt. Eric Trump, I think, said that. Or was it Trump Jr.? I think it was Eric Trump. He said, yeah, World Liberty Financial, once that launches, no doubt it will reach the top 10 on crypto market cap. 4th of July would also be such a epic American moment for World Liberty Financial to be announced, to go public, right? Will World Liberty Financial be greater than $13 billion market cap, fully diluted value 1 day after the launch? There's a 54% chance of that on Polymarket. Yeah. It could be the start of DeFi, actually. Yeah, it would definitely boost a lot of projects like that. And yeah, maybe it gets announced tomorrow, 4th of July. If it does, that would be pretty neat. But we don't have a specific set date as to when it's going to be announced. So we're all just speculating here. When is this thing going to come out, right? Was that all I had? Yeah, it was all I had, I think. Okay, let's talk about Bitcoin liquidity as well. The liquidation levels, really. It's looking like towards the bottom side, liquidations, of course, 108,000. Toward the top side, 111,000. So this could either shoot up or shoot down. It's going to be a bigger shoot upwards, though, if you notice the amount just on the heat map, right? It's much more colorful on the top part, which means that those shorts will cause a big short squeeze and huge liquidation. Those positions will be forced closed. If you close a short, you have to buy, and it's just going to cause this big snowball effect above 111,000. So that's a level to pay attention to. I can't really see it from this image. I could probably pull it up myself. I do have the site for it. I have 2, CoinGlass and CoinAnk. CoinGlass, I think, is the good one. No, CoinAnk, I think, is the good one. Let me check this. Yeah, it's this one. So we basically pull up BTC. Yeah, this one shows 111,000. Couple... Wow, this is billions. Okay. 300, 400... just all the way consecutively, 500, 400, 300, 200, all the way up to 111,700. That's maybe we could see some slowdown unless buyers just keep on pushing it upward. So a breakout upward seems stronger, right? Compared to 108,000, it does not look that strong. There's only 100, 200 millions that would get liquidated on the bottom side. So all those shorts are absolutely going to get wrecked. Go to a longer time frame here. Yeah, much more colorful over here compared to the bottom, right? So I'm more hopeful for that. And that should immediately take us, of course, just super close to 112,000. That's literally the all-time high level for Bitcoin. Expect that soon. That's on our side. M2 money supply is also on our side. It just keeps on making new all-time highs every day. Global liquidity, and Bitcoin follows that. There's also rumors that Elon Musk may be purchasing Bitcoin. There was this post that came out over here. Somebody pointed out, like, hey, anybody noticed how Elon Musk talks about things like overspending and the debt and bad government decisions in general having to do with the one big beautiful bill? But he's completely stopped talking about Bitcoin, the most sane path out of this mess. That doesn't add up. What is he hiding? Somebody replied to this, 2 likes, by the way, saying, maybe he is stacking quietly. And that guy caught Elon Musk himself actually liking that tweet saying maybe he is stacking quietly. And it's real. It's real. Like he showed like a real thing. Here's the video confirming that it is genuinely Elon Musk, right? Where is it? Here's the video. So he goes into the likes and he scrolls down, and it is indeed the official Elon Musk. He liked that tweet. Elon likes the tweet of random people talking about him saying, maybe Elon Musk is stacking Bitcoins quietly. And he likes it. Exposed. He is indeed stacking. That's pretty funny. Yeah, so you got some of that action there, right? Chief Intelligence Officer, CIO of Fundstrat Capital, so that's Tom Lee, and I've discussed this guy talking about this specifically. He's predicting that banks will start buying Ethereum to secure their stablecoins, not just for speculation, but for infrastructure. He's putting his full faith into this now, and he also wants to make Ethereum kind of like what the Bitcoin is for MicroStrategy, for example. He wants to use Ethereum for his own companies as a strategic reserve. I don't know specifically about that. I would prefer, of course, Bitcoin over Ethereum any day of the year if I'm talking about a strategic reserve. But hey, there's other options for, crypto, and you can choose whichever coin you really want as a strategic reserve as long as you fully trust in its fundamentals. Clearly he does if he is going to use Ethereum for it. And I mean, you don't got to be a crypto expert to see the price action of Ethereum, of course, not doing as great, but he still has faith in the project and on its potential for rising. People are still saying, Ethereum 8,000, 7,000, 10,000 by the end of the cycle. Maybe not. I really don't think so. I don't think it has enough in it to do so, because it's already very high up on the CoinMarketCap list, right? 313 billion is in Ethereum for its market cap. Has it had higher market caps before? I could probably check market cap all time. It has. It's reached a 500 billion market cap before. That was back in 2021. It has an infinite supply, which that's not something that makes me happy, but hey, if the market cap, we're halfway there, right, towards the all-time high of 5,000 almost, right? Over here, this would have been almost 5,000. 4,600, sure, well, you could call that 5,000. The current price is 2,500. You duplicate the market cap, you will get the price up there. It is possible. And to have even more, to have it go up even more to something like, I don't know, Ethereum 5,000, Ethereum, let's see, 7,000 is some of the targets that people were saying, 8,000, 10,000. Yeah, market cap would have to increase significantly on that. So would depend. We also have this pointed out that Ethereum's price is suppressed by the largest short position in history, which that's practically bullish because they'll have to close that eventually, right? A lot of shorting going on with Ethereum. That's going to cause a short squeeze eventually, and Ethereum is going to explode. We have seen Ethereum explode toward the upside from, it doesn't look that big, but it is this candle over here. I'm on a weekly chart, so that's why it doesn't look so impressive. But you scroll back over here, I'm talking about this rise right over here. Boom, just a lot of shorts liquidated right over here. And we managed to stay up here for a good moment. Still at the same level where we were back in May, right? For Ethereum. So a lot of potential still for Ethereum. And also the staking ETF is not fully priced into it yet. It's not getting a lot of institutional interest because of the fact that Ethereum does not have staking in its ETF. Solana does, and that is approved. It got approved yesterday. It's an existing thing now. So, you're probably going to see more people flock over to Solana if they want staking. But once Ethereum gets it, I think Ethereum is still, the OG, the more trusted project, right? People would probably go back to Ethereum ETFs for the staking, right? So that should be good. And of course, what's coming up next, XRP ETFs, Cardano ETFs, Litecoin, Sui, Polkadot, Avalanche, Doge, I think. What other ETFs could come out that were being discussed? I never heard somebody talk about Binance or Tron ETF. Maybe a Chainlink ETF, I think. Hedera ETF, I remember that. That's all really I could think of. Don't remember any of these other ones getting ETFs. But yeah, we already know that news that the SEC is preparing a blueprint, some framework for these crypto companies. If they want a tokenized ETF, they got to follow this set of rules, and it will help streamline the process, speed it up, and get things approved much quicker. And once that just gets back to back approved, which I'm expecting for this to happen over the duration of the summer, we're definitely going to see that, you know, contribute to what is called the alt season. Sui also posted this, by the way, comparing its chain and Solana's to the rest of the other chains. In terms of developers data, right? While most crypto ecosystems are losing developers, Sui is growing fast. Crypto dev count is down almost everywhere, but there are two big exceptions, and that is Sui and Solana. Solana has actually increased the amount of developers that it has, and Sui also, in 2 years, almost double. Of course, Sui is a bit more of a newer project. I guess that would make sense, but every other chain, like Polygon, Polkadot, Cosmos, I don't know about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still positive. SVM, I don't know what this is. But, you know, these other ones are a bit in the red. They're losing developers, right? So Sui has 16.1% year-over-year growth in full-time contributors, 54% growth over 2 years, highest among top L1s. Top 5 in total devs among L1s, and it's just getting started. For context, Ethereum Base and other Ethereum virtual machine chains are down 20% and more. Solana is up 17%, Sui is up 16% year over year in terms of developer growth. They're the only major chains bucking the trend. Sui took a different path than most, building a new safety-focused stack centered around move, assets, and objects, and making the long-term investment to create a vibrant ecosystem around it. It's encouraging to see this paying off as more developers embrace the Sui vision, but it's not just about numbers, it's about momentum. Largest and fastest growing move ecosystem, dev tooling improving fast, aligned incentives, a builder community full of energy. The trajectory since mainnet has been clear. Sustained compounding growth. And yeah, more devs are being added for Web3. There we go. There's your little update on Sui. Mr. Blowin' Chunks. Soul staking ETF with be a for sure pickup. Yeah. I actually started buying into it. We have it in Canada too. I'm trying to be smart with what I'm doing with my tax-free savings account that we have in Canada. It's basically a portfolio where you can grow your assets tax-free. I want to not pay taxes on my crypto. You can buy spot ETFs and, you know, your gains are tax-free on that. There's a specific limit that you can contribute to every year though. So that's the only downside to it. But hey, anything that I'm not using, I'll just invest it into those spot ETFs. So that's kind of what I've been doing. It makes sense. So I'm putting it to good use case. Moving on. IMF rejects Pakistan's plan to allocate 2,000 megawatts of electricity for Bitcoin mining and AI data centers. I did discuss that Pakistan wanted to start mining a lot of Bitcoin, and the International Monetary Fund, I think that's what it is. Yes. They're very anti-crypto, anti-Bitcoin, etc. And of course, they're blocking their plan to do that. But they're still committed to pursuing Bitcoin mining plans, Pakistan. Especially with the help of CZ as their crypto advisor, for the ex-Binance CEO. They'll figure something out. So still, you know, you can have some faith in Pakistan and their crypto goals, right? But nothing's going to beat the United States in crypto. They will be the crypto capital, is what Donald Trump promised. Ripple USD stablecoin, I'll talk a bit about this as well. The Swiss regulated bank Amina becomes the first bank globally to support Ripple's RLUSD stablecoin, offering custody and trading services to institutional clients. That's good. More adoption. And also, BitMEX becomes the first exchange to accept RLUSD as margin on its derivatives trading platform. That is interesting. I know there's no real big change to it. Like, it's still $1. Every stablecoin has that same concept. Do whatever you do, as long as you can keep that stablecoin token at $1 back to back, 1-to-1 with the US dollar. They all have their different ways to do it, right? With treasuries and whatnot. Algorithmic ones have been proven to be a failure with Terra Luna, right? That was a failed project, Terra USD. But for Ripple, I mean, BitMEX is allowing RLUSD, so you could trade BTC, RLUSD instead of, USDT, or USDC is another option you could trade with this, right? You could trade with different coins, USDC, right? Those are your options there, so that's interesting to know. BitMEX is adopting that. Robinhood CEO, talking about tokenized stocks here, Vlad Tenev, says that the OpenAI and SpaceX tokens are derivatives backed by SPVs and they're not actually company shares. Reason why I'm bringing this up is because I already covered a couple streams ago that they launched, about 200 tokens on the blockchain, basically for stocks, X stocks, and you could trade those, right, on the blockchain. And it's basically that you're not actually buying the stock, you're just buying into its movements that it does. It's kind of like an ETF, I guess. But it's tokenized, it's on a blockchain, which that's what makes it special. Now, they also gave the option to invest into these companies, OpenAI and SpaceX. Yesterday, I think I said Starlink. That was a mistake. It's actually SpaceX, not Starlink. OpenAI and SpaceX are private companies that you actually cannot invest into. Like, if I go onto TradingView and I want to invest into OpenAI, like, you can't. You're never going to find the ticker for it. Like, OpenAI, okay, maybe you will, but it's not actually the official public traded company, right? You cannot buy shares of OpenAI. You cannot buy shares of SpaceX, right? You could buy, like, now you can with this this tokenized blockchain. And yesterday a post came out from OpenAI saying, hey, if you're buying into that, by the way, it's not us you're buying into. We don't take responsibility for it. You don't have any ownership in our company. We're a private company. Just pointing that out for clarity. And people understand that, of course. It's no problem. And it's whatever's showing there from Robinhood, the OpenAI stock or SpaceX stock, it's all just depending on what the public feels about it. If, there's good news about OpenAI, people will start buying into the stock, right? If there's bad news, people will sell it off. Literally the same as any other stock. The only difference is that you're not actually, buying a share of that company. You're not actually being a part of that company. You're not owning anything, right? So that's the only difference. They're not actually company shares. And what is an SPV, by the way? Let me just look this up. Special purpose vehicle. That is not it. Stock or company. No, not company. Okay, I guess it is a special purpose vehicle. Organization, legal structure. Well, I never heard of that before. Anyways, I also covered yesterday, Gemini was going to announce something big tomorrow, which was today. They posted all this stuff, and I said, hey, is it going to be tokenized stocks? Wow, was I right or was I right? It is indeed tokenized stocks as well. So you can now do this with Solana on their decentralized exchanges like Jupiter and Radium. You can do this with Robinhood, tokenized stocks, and now Gemini as well. You also have other companies like Kraken and some other companies, I forget, who are also exploring the possibility to add this soon. So this is just absolutely going to be the future. It opens the possibility for 24/7 trading. It's just perfect. Can't wait to see this. For Gemini, they've added 20 plus tokenized stocks now available to trade on Gemini. Among those, I'm trying to see if there's anything special. Not really. No, these are normal stocks that you could trade literally anywhere else, but you can do it in a decentralized way, I guess, if they don't have KYC. I'm pretty sure they do, though. So it's the same as nothing, because you still have to pay tax on that. But hey, if you want a tax evasion course, that's a different subject for a different day. I think that is all for me today. That's all the news I had to cover. So overall, just to summarize, tomorrow, low liquidity day. I still have a bullish outlook. Things might still levitate towards the upside or maybe toward the downside. If it is to the downside, I'd be making tiny, tiny profits over here. If it is toward the upside, I'd be making very big profits nonetheless. So profit either way. And that's all. All right, great. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe. See you tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye.